Well, hello there, YouTube. It's Tuesday, December 13th, 2022. And I just kind of wanted to get out a quick little video about testing the different RTV sealants. And the reason is, you know, in 2 videos ago, I knew by the tip, I knew that this tip was just too big for those little galleries on that rear end cover. And so I actually intended to remove the rear end cover when I actually was installing the rear end cover, because I wanted to see just how much squeeze out and all that was going to be inside those oil galleries. So that was already intended, okay? And also, as you know, the manual says to not remove your rear end cover, if at all possible. And I figured, you know, most people are going to do that. You know, they're going to say, oh, okay, I don't want to do that. You know, I want to do it right. So you're going to go through all the process like I did when this whole thing started. That's right. 1 year ago, this all started with a rear seal leak, and I followed the directions. And it took me hours to remove that rear seal. And I was scared the whole time. You're drilling in it. You're trying to put in tools to pop it out and all that kind of stuff. And you know, it was crazy. And even at that time there, I thought, you know, why don't I just take the stupid cover off, right? But I didn't. I followed the instructions. And but when I took the cover off, I found that there was all this JB weld. It cracked. It pulled away from the surfaces, you know. Just as that stuff, well, aluminum has a different expansion and contraction than JB weld, so that's why that stuff doesn't always work. You know, sometimes I know guys use it and it works. But I thought, you know, I already knew that, so I was going to take off the cover, so now you guys know that I was actually going to do that. What I wasn't going to do was break the cover, okay? So I thought I'd put the seal on it, and that would be that. And then I was going to take the seal, I was going to take the cover off again, because I was going to test whatever sealant I was going to test at that time. All right, that was going to be the plan. And then I was going to pull that off and inspect everything, but I broke it. So I ordered a new one, and I thought, okay, well, let's just finish up this whole little video series a little bit different way and just kind of pick up. And that is, you know, testing these different sealants. Now, you guys know that I tested the SI 5900, and immediately I knew that the nozzle was just too giant, okay? And that's why you guys noticed that I owned the Mercedes-Benz. I already purchased it in October. I purchased the Mercedes-Benz sealant. That was my plan. I was going to try that sealant, you know? I couldn't get a hold of this other sealant. And then you'll see why I couldn't get a hold of this other sealant, you know, in this video. That's kind of what this is also about. So to kind of update things, and you know, now I can do it. As a matter of fact, you know, I'm doing a final test right here. And that's where I'm picking up myself right now, is I'm going to put some gloves on, and this has been sitting 24 hours. This is my final test. You know, part of this whole video series, in the very beginning, when I posted my very first video, I said the manual is going to tell you things, because I had already rebuilt everything on the suspension, everything I've taken apart. So I went through that and I go, oh, why'd they tell me to do that, right? There's another way to do it, or maybe a better way, or a different way, or a safer way, you know? But the only way you can do it is first you follow the instructions, you know, or if someone else is doing it. Well, there's not too many people out there doing an M117, right? So here we are. But really, that's what I said. I says, I'm going to show you different ways of doing it, and I wanted to show you the different ways of doing this rear seal. It just, unfortunately, didn't work out the way I wanted it to. All right, so why don't I continue and finish this up while you guys are watching this, and that's kind of where we are. I mean, this is basically real time. I'm just going to go in there as soon as I do take this thing apart and evaluate it and look at it and decide what sealant I'm going to use. All right, that's kind of what this is. And then the very next video, I'm hoping, they said by Friday I should have that cover here. So instead of boring you with all these details of sealant and paths and all that, the other one would just be basically showing me, boom, really quick, speed it up, show you where the path was, put the cover on with the seal on it, and that's it. Close it up and get it back on the stand, because I want to turn it around and do basically the same thing with the front. So I want to get that front cover on so we got things closed up and get the heads on. Because the heads is, right now, that's my biggest fear, is the heads. That's right, everybody knows this is where failures occur. So I just want to get to that point so I can get over with it, the anxiety of all that. So, all right, you guys, so until the next one, hey, thanks again for subscribing. Tell your friends, kind of get this thing going. I don't seem to be getting any new subscribers recently, and I think it's because I talk too much. I don't know, or maybe I give you too much detail. I do things that nobody else is doing. You know, that's part of it. I mean, how else are you gonna learn, right? By my mistakes. I'm investing, I'm buying the different sealants, I'm trying the different stuff, and I'm showing you guys the results. So, I guess if that's not good enough to get subscribers, then that's just the way it is. And it's not about subscribers. It's really trying to get my fellow 560 or M117, M116, M119 even in this case. You guys, I just want to get the word out. And we all know you get buried in, so you know you basically get buried in the results. So if people look for how to do this, I won't be there unless I have a bunch of subscribers and people like my videos. I'm trying, you know, I'm trying to make my videos better. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next one. So now you have your cover off, and you're saying, Tony, how in the world do I get that seal out of the cover? I'm thinking that the easiest way is just to support this. That's a hammer. Just got these plastic heads on it. And then just that and a piece of the rubber there. And I'm gonna go right here where I'm most supported. I think I'm gonna start there at least and just give it a smack. And that's it. All right, so if you're replacing your cover, you bought a new one because you cracked it, or I did. You wanna get your balls out. And probably the easiest way, like I did earlier, is just a 6mm. I cut the head off. This is what I'm also using to help install, to help guide it on. But just come from the back side here. Put that in there like that. Take yourself just a rubber mallet like this and just... It's almost out. There it is. That's probably the easiest way to get it out. So now you have your cover and seal. You don't have the Mercedes tool or anything like that. It doesn't matter for this, for the purpose of this. But you don't have any of that, but you have a seal and you've got your plate, and now you want to put that plate in there, or put that seal in there. Now, it'll lay there, but of course, you know, normally it would be pressed in, right? But you don't own a press. So we'll make a press. And this is what I did, is I made this little block of wood with these holes in it. This hole and that hole are for those balls, so I can knock them out. Then I have these, which are those ones that you can put in here to pull the cover off. I'm gonna show you another way to pull the cover off as well. So another way to get this cover off is you've got these threaded holes here. So you can use a piece of wood like this, like I did earlier, and place that in your threaded hole. And then just keep pulling it, because it's against the crankshaft, and so you'll be able to pull this all the way out. And there it is, I just popped it. You can actually pull the whole thing off, and that's it. That's another way to do it, right? Because this thing will just rest up against here and you pull it straight out. But in a better way, safer way. But for this, I can just pop that through. With this little board here, now you've got this thing really nice and flat. You know, you won't be warping it, you won't be doing anything like that I did. And then right in the center, so when I laid that in there, you know, I drew a circle and I found its center. And then I have another block of wood and found its center. Do you guys get the idea? That's right, all you gotta do now is throw a bolt between the two and tighten it. So now I have my bolt through it, right? Right in the center. This one's flat up against there, so we know we've got a really good flat surface we're working with. This is dry. So you could also do this in a vise. And that's it. You can see that'll press it in just fine. Now another way to do it is with a press. All right, so I have this on my press, and then I'm gonna put this down and I'm gonna find my hole that I have in there. That way there I know I'm in the center, right? Because that's what I want. I want to kind of be in the center of that. And then I will place this also in the center. And then press it. You can see that this is really easy, right? And then it's pressed in. And that's nice and flat too. See that? Looks great, right? So that's another method. And if you've got the tool, it's exactly the same thing, except you use the tool instead of that piece of wood on top. I really did like this product, except for the nozzle. Way too big. You can see the size of these. That thing's only it's only 4 millimeters. So you know the size of this nozzle is 4 millimeters. So you saw how I feel that using this, unless you've got some special technique or a different nozzle or something, I just don't see how you could do this and do it without clogging up these oil galleries. Especially this little one right here, because you're going to get squeeze out on both sides, right? And so if it squeezes that way and squeezes that way, that's how you end up with something like this, because that's what was in between these two on the block. So you know you're restricting oil flow. So I wanted to try the Mercedes sealant. I had purchased this recently, just in like October or something, and someone made a comment that they're buying these things and they're expired. Well, I find that on here it says 12/21. On this product here, they actually tell you the use by date is 3/23. Okay, so this is fresh, it's clean, it cured, everything about it was great. People are saying that the Mercedes is not curing. So that says that, and then also I see on here, it's made in Italy, and the label dated 01/20. So is this 2 years old? Is it supposed to be used by $12.21? I think so. I think they sold me an expired tube of sealant. That 5900 Loctite, it gets into like the littlest little cracks and lays flat. The properties of that Loctite are excellent, okay? But with that being said, I brake cleaned the back of this piece of aluminum here. And I brake cleaned all that. And what I'm going to be doing is taking this and setting it on here, right where this is with sealant. My biggest concern is this area right here. So I'm going to go just like that. And then I'm going to put a clamp on here. And then we're going to look at the properties of this type of sealant. So a large paper clip is 1 millimeter. So that is the size I put in here, or the hole that I made. And you can see, maybe you can see what 1 millimeter looks like. And then when that's flattened out, that will fit that galley or fit that point just perfectly if we can keep a nice small line like that. Do you think that's possible? That small of a line, right? That is quite small. That's 1 millimeter right there. You can see you don't hardly need any sealant. You really don't. Because that's going to spread out. All that stuff that goes out beyond that is not doing you any good. It's only doing you harm. The only thing you're trying to do is fill any little voids that are against the surface. Slight warpages and things like that. I mean, very, very small. It's got to be gradual, very minimal. And you want good adhesion. The engine's moving, you know, it's heating, expanding, and all that kind of stuff. So you want really good adhesion at those temperatures, and you want it to stretch, right? You want it to stretch. Like, if you look at this other stuff, you know, this is what I scraped off the other one, but you see that? I mean, it has really good elasticity. So when things heat up and contract, heat up, you know, it's as long, and then it has, like I said, excellent adhesion. It was very, very difficult for me to get out of these holes. And when it went into a void, it just grabbed the whole of the void. So I really love the product. Too bad. So guess what, guys? You can just use one of these. It fits in the tip and you can use it. All right, let's go ahead and try it. If we can even get it out, we'll see. All right, like this. Put a clamp on it. Nothing crazy. I'm gonna let this sit overnight. But you get it, it works. It will work. That's nice to know. So this is the old cover. And this right here is the sealant that I just did, the Mercedes sealant. And you see that? It's sticky. So it did not cure. Look at that. Doesn't stick to anything. Right? Now compare that with the Loctite. It's like it turned into a rubber. Night and day, and you see how it just adheres so well. Look at that. I like this material. It's got plenty of give. This other stuff, it didn't even dry. Look at that. It's like chewing gum. Is that by design? The other stuff definitely cured. It's not going to get in your oil passages. I mean, even this little thing that's sticking out right here. So if you get squeeze out, which we're going to look at the other one in a minute, you know, you don't have, if you get squeeze out with this, I think once that thing is dry, it's not going to go anywhere. This other stuff, it's just going to end up gumming everything up, I think. I mean, look at this thing. Look how good it sticks. Million times better than this Mercedes stuff, in my opinion. All I got to do is get a nice small bead like I did right there. This is my practice bead. You know, this was really hard to get that small. But you can see that's about how big this is. But this flattened out, I noticed. It flattened out overnight because it's still a liquid. It never set, you know. There's no cure to it. Let's take a closer look. All right, here's the thing that I did yesterday. So you can see there was a little squeeze out. That's what I would say that is acceptable. I mean, I don't even have any squeeze out on here, just very little here, a little bit there, a little bit on the inside, I don't know. But all in all, I would say it was pretty good. Now let's see. So I just pushed it with my thumb, and of course it popped right off. But that is what you're looking for. You see how nice and clean that is? I mean, that's the size bead. Not the right product, I don't think. You know, unless that's done by design, like I said. But you can see it got everything laid there pretty well. I would say that wasn't bad, right? This is how this would go, if you want to know. There was excess here, obviously, but I think the bead was good. We have very, very little, just a little bit on this one right here, where it kind of came through right in there. Just a little bit of bleed. But I'd say that probably came out pretty good. So we're on track with the right size, just this material. As you can see, it did not set up. See that? But the point is that it's not set. It didn't set up, right? So I'm not going to go with the Mercedes. So here it is. You can still see it's wet. Well, shiny, right? In comparison, it's still sticky, but it's more cured now. So if I were to take like this section right here, you know, the adhesion is terrible, right? Look. So I think the stuff that leaks out of here, I don't know if it's going to cure enough. I mean, look, it doesn't really stick. See that, you guys? Compared to this other stuff, you know, it's still movable. still a rubbery stuff. This other stuff is just still sticky, and it doesn't adhere. Not really. So I don't like that material. So I thought, what if I cut the tip off of this and super glue it onto here? And the reason why I say that is I reached out to Loctite. Yeah, we have tips that you can take this tip off, supposedly for their aerosol cans, and put a new tip on. And these tips cost $35. Unfortunately, the super glue doesn't stick. So it just pushes it off. Super glue doesn't dry or whatever, I don't know, but it doesn't work, okay? When I held it on, I did a little bit, it was fine. Their biggest problem is the stupid nozzle tip is way too big. So this is stupid, really dumb Loctite, you know, you're making a big major mistake by putting that giant tip. I mean, that's ridiculous. That size of that tip is totally ridiculous. There's no need for that. So there's one of these products here that I haven't tested, at least not yet, but I plan to today. So what I found out is that what you see here, this particular tube, this silicone tube right here, this is what I see that Tassos is using, but what I found out is that this is the new part number. And I bought this directly from the Lexus dealer right down the street. And this was like $14 or under 20. And this is the exact same stuff. As a matter of fact, if you take the other part number and you put it in there, they say that this is the new one for it. And I read about it and everything. We've got a great tip, right? Nice and small like we need it. And then one of these. All right, so we can go ahead and put that in there like that and actually have a nice control. So I thought that we definitely need to test this stuff. I have a funny feeling this is going to be very much similar to the Loctite SI 5900. And the reason why I say that is, from what I understand, is that this is a vulcanizing type silicone, and so is that other. And you know Toyota doesn't manufacture this, right? One of the companies that make sealant manufacture this. So we're going to do that. It comes with a tip. You can buy other tips online. They sell tips for tubes. So that's a good thing. We can use it, take the tip off, throw it away if we want, you know, unless we're lucky enough to keep it, then we'll keep it. So there's actually a date of 9/30/23 as far as the expiration date. So they have it on the actual tube. Try to be a little steadier next time. I forgot to wear my glasses just now. So I'm not quite as good as I could be. Right? I don't know how far that's going to go, but we'll pretend. I'm going to lay this on that. This is what I actually want, is like this. All right, now I want to get some clamps on it. All right, I will actually throw one more clamp on it just like I did the last one. I think that's probably a good spot. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to let that set overnight. and we'll see the properties of that. I got a little bit of squeeze out. So obviously I have more than enough. So, and I left this here so you can have a reference of how large that line was. A little bit more than 1 millimeter possibly. What I thought I'd do is I would put 2 comparison beads so we can compare the 2 products. The Toyota product with this product. Okay, here we go. So that's that product. I'll do the same thing on this line here. I wish I would have brought my glasses, but I didn't. As you can see, it's a lot easier to lay this product down perfectly. There is a difference right off the bat. The Loctite doesn't have a shine to it. The Toyota has a shine. I don't know if there's really probably no way to show that on camera, but that's one difference. All right, so hopefully I don't touch anything. All right, so I've got my gloves on. So let's go ahead and, it's been 24 hours exactly, just like the other tests. All right, let's just do a quick little visual. So this here is the 5900, all right? It's not sticky. Good adhesion. This here, it has basically the same kind of properties. See that? Same kind of dryness. It's not like hard. It's got the same kind of bounce to it. It's shiny. Oh, it's got good adhesion. Look at that. Oh. These are only been dried 24 hours. Look, this has got really good adhesion. Adhesion-wise, I got to give it to the Loctite. Look at that. Of course, this is a much smaller line. And it's not like it's, you know what? This part came off, so that's my fault, you know? And of course, once it's squished together, yeah, look at that. So let's see if I can, let's try to cut it. All right, so now we can get a little bit closer look at adhesion here. That does not look like it adhered quite as well. I may not have cleaned it as well. That's probably my guess, because you can see the others, well. So that's how this kind of broke down. You see it's like dotted. Let's see what I can do here. I'll cut it. You know what? It's really hard to even cut. Look at that, guys. I mean, man. If adhesion is what you want, I'm telling you, the Loctite, hands down, there's no doubt about it. I can remove this side. Okay? This has the same characteristics, but this is like shiny, and I don't know if that has a little bit to do with it. The bead, my bead was a little smaller, but look, I mean, look at that. I even broke this trying to get this off of here. If adhesion is what you want, I'm telling you, the Loctite is the stuff. This is very similar otherwise, right? It's got good elasticity. It snaps. I would say, though, even this, if I could get up a piece, you know, they're real similar, right? But this, look at this. Do you see that? What do you guys think? Man, I'll tell you, the Loctite so far has done excellent. This Toyota has also done very well. Now, of course, I know for a fact I cleaned really well up in here, and the Toyota stuff is sticking just fine. So part of this, I was not planning on going all the way down here. I may not have got this as clean. I have good adhesion. You know, I mean, as good adhesion as you need, and I'll prove it to you in a minute, because once this is spread down, when torqued down, you're going to have full adhesion. Here, I laid it on top trying to do a 1 millimeter, you know, a real small bead, right? I mean, this is the difference. And I mean, I'm trying to get this one to be small, and you can clearly see. The Toyota is by far easier to use, to spread the size that you need for this cover. Okay, so now that we all know the Loctite has excellent adhesion, it has the same characteristics, elasticity, stretch, very similar. It may even beat the Toyota, otherwise they're very similar. I have a little bit of squeeze out because I'm not that good yet, and you guys notice I put in a very small line. I know how I can improve this one. So I can do that. I can improve this seal. All right, so on my other one, I did the thumb test, right? I tried to push it out with my thumb. So, all right, no, I can't do it. Cannot do it. So hands down, you know, I mean, that's on there. That is on there, it's not coming off. Now, you saw with the Mercedes stuff, I really didn't put that much force on it, and just popped right off. And that was after 24 hours. And even after 36 hours, that stuff was still not cured. So let me put this little bolt in here and just push this through. Now, you guys noticed that I used the bolts before on the back cover. To take this cover off, I just put the bolts in, you know, and pushed up against the block. With this kind of sealant, you better not do that, because I think that you might damage your holes that are behind there. So I don't recommend you do that. Let's see if we can get this to come apart this way. All right, I got something on there now. All right. Look at that, very good coverage. Nice adhesion. Very little, but I still have some here. but much better control. Unfortunately, I have too much here. I have to be careful. This is quite large of a spill out. What's nice is that it's spread. Well, of course, it's got the back cover. It would not have clogged that oil gallery, but this is going to be a very difficult place to seal. Is right in these areas. Here, 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 and here. This other looked like it was pretty good, not too bad. And we got really good adhesion otherwise. You can see this is really nice and flat. I think that all came out great. Now let's see, you remember the last time I did this with the Mercedes sealant. It's not dry there. So I don't know how long this is going to take. Because as you can see, where it is dry on the edges, because it's a vulcanizing stuff, so I'm sure this other stuff will work the same way, it reacts to air. So if there's blow by, it's supposed to seal, but... So that kind of stuff is going to be the same, I guess. So it's all about control, what product you like, the type of adhesion you want. You know, on this surface, it did pretty well. And there's very little that came out of there. I'm going to leave that there because I'm going to use this as a reference so I can pay very close attention when I do the next one. I might want to use something like this to help spread those little areas very small. I don't want to get this kind of overlap. If I can show that to you, that's what I want to avoid, is that. That's too much. I like the product. It's basically the same kind of stuff. Very, very similar. It's not the exact same. All the properties of the 5900 is really good. The nozzles are horrible. That's all there is to it. It's very easy to control a squeeze bottle. Loctite sells another one that has a replaceable nozzle tips as well, but it's like $35 for the tube, and then you still need a dispenser or something. And you know, I mean, it's all for professional use. It's not for Tony and his little YouTube garage here. So basically that's where we are. Let me be careful before I get anything touching like my computer screen. Actually, I don't use a computer. No, I don't. This is all a self-contained unit. I can actually take this on the road. Yeah, no computer needed. I built it. All right, well, you guys, so I'm still thinking about it. What do you guys think? What kind of sealant have you used? What kind of sealant do you like? I think maybe we'll have a little bit of open discussion. I'm happy and I'm unhappy. Everything I like. Right now, I'm going to go with the Toyota sealant. I'll tell you that right now. There's no way I'm going to use the Mercedes sealant. I don't like that at all. I already know that the Toyota sealant is a vulcanizing sealant and it's going to react exactly the same way. So the spill out will be identical to the Loctite. That I can pretty much assure you will be virtually identical. I feel the adhesion in the Loctite is better, but the tip that comes with the Loctite, it's resistant to glues and things because they don't want the glue to stick to it. So, all right, so that's where we are right now. And then in the next video, I'll be putting on that back cover. Should be here by the end of the week. All right, so that wraps up this video. You guys say, hey, thanks for subscribing. And hey, join me when I try to start this car for the first time, right? We're gonna try to do it live on YouTube. All right, you guys, I'll talk to you soon.